Hey folks, Iana Kone here. Let's talk about this problem. Bunch of fractions. Look at that. Ugly problem, pretty much. Everything's got a fraction. So immediately, if you don't like fractions, you're not liking this problem. But let's look at, first thing I did is I covered up the rest of the problem, because in a problem like this, when you see all the steps, it's overwhelming. And this helps focus me, putting a piece of paper, covering it up. So if when you're studying, if you have a long problem, uh, cover up what you're not looking at. It helps you focus. It really does. So we're going to do the strategy technique where we multiply each term by the LCD of 24. And I got this by 6 times 4. And that is the least common denominator, because if you take 24, notice 2 goes into it, 2 goes into 24, and then notice 3 goes into it, 3 goes into 24. So you don't need to make that bigger. You could multiply 24 times 2, but you don't have to. So let's look at the big, long problem. Of course, I've divided everything up into only one step at a time. So there's the 24 by each term. Now here, you see the negative sign there? I put it there, and then there's a note. And you'll have this piece of paper on the web page. So I put the negative sign with the 24 because I never want to lose track of a negative sign. If I've got one there, I need to have it down here somewhere. I could have put it here. I could have put it over here, but here's a nice placeholder for it because it's with the 24 all by itself. So now let's look at, I start my multiplying. Big, long problem like I told you. Well, 24 over 6, that's just 4. So I'm reducing 6, and 24 divided by 6 is 4. I'm reducing 24 over 4 is 6. So 4 goes into 24 6 times. 24 over 2 is the 12. 24 over 3 is the 8. And that negative sign, it's still with the 8. So now I begin my distributive property. Hopefully you recognize that. We're doing all those distributive, I can just move up. We're just doing all those distributive properties. 6 times 2x is the 12x. 6 times 4 is the 24. There we go, distributive property. And then the negative 8, I did the math over here. The negative 8 times 3, so negative 8 times 3 is the negative 24. That's how I got that one. And then the negative 8, look, there's a negative sign there. Boy, those math teachers, they make you watch out for all kinds of stuff. Negative 8 times negative 2x, well, that's the 16x. So I put, so here I'm combining like terms and then the 24. And I circled the x's so they will stand out to me. And then I combine like terms. And then here I'm combining these. Watch out, negative signs. Whenever you see a negative sign, just stop and go, okay, what do I do? And then negative 36. And I did everything in one step. Subtracted 16x from each side. So I'll have, you see, I'm looking into the future of the problem. That's a positive number, the 12x. So if I'm going to get rid of all the x's on the left side, well, I need to put all the numbers on the right side. See how this 60, so I have the numbers on the left side and then the variables on the right side. And then I divide by 12 and I get x equals 5. Well, let's look at the check for this problem because it's several steps. So there it is. And then I filled all my 5s in because I'm checking it, that x equals 5. Now look here, I'm just turning that to a decimal. Just make your life easier. There you go. Did some multiplication. There we go, simplified. I put the 5 in. You got this business here. Here's 14 over 4. It's 3.5. Messed up a little. And then 2 minus the reducing. Look, I got a negative sign I just make sure and make these big enough so I see them every single time. And when you have 2 minus a negative number, if you remember from math, it's plus, so it's 7/3. And then look, I turn the 7/3 into a decimal. Always do that when you're checking. Never deal with fractions. And then we got 4.33. So look, it checks. Now what this means is because the left number and the right number are the same, that means our answer of 5 was correct. So that is a doozy of a problem.